Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Obesity Matters Wellness Workshop, where we embark on an incredible journey together towards better health and wellness. Whether this is your first time or you have been with us since we started, we are grateful you are here. My name is Rachel. I am the Vice Chair of Obesity Matters and your host for this year-long program. Today, I am thrilled to welcome our special guest, Dr. Sarah Nutter. The title of today's session is Health Comes in All Shapes and Sizes, and we will be discussing topics like body image, weight stigma. Sarah has a very rich presentation in store for us.
So I am an assistant professor at the University of Victoria on Vancouver Island in Canada, on the west coast of Canada. And I've been in Victoria for about 4 years now, but I've had the privilege to live across the country. When I lived on the east coast of Canada in St. John's, Newfoundland, I have been embarking on a research journey on weight stigma and body image for over 10 years now. And my passion for my research and the work that I do and for talking to people like you all today comes from my own lived experiences of being dissatisfied with my body, feeling as though I had a body that wasn't as beautiful or as good as it ought to be. And, having some experiences throughout my life of weight stigma and discrimination and coming to reject a lot of the ideas of the culture that I lived in, and now wanting to do research to help me reject those ideas in a bigger and hopefully more impactful way. I also have my two fur babies. Stanley is my orange cat and Alice is my black and white cat. And if you notice, the stockings behind me have an S and an A on them. Santa spoils everybody in this house. So when I say body image and when researchers in my area use the word body image, what we're talking about is broadly a person's perceptions, thoughts, and feelings about their body. And we know that these perceptions, thoughts, and feelings can be positive or negative or neutral. So body dissatisfaction specifically then is the term that we use to describe a person, that should say negative thoughts and feelings about their body. And when we're measuring body dissatisfaction, researchers in my area often measure satisfaction or dissatisfaction with body weight, shape, specific areas of the body, as well as personal investment in appearance. What researchers have found is that body dissatisfaction is so common in our culture across everybody that it has been called a normal or a normative discontent, that it has become so normal to be dissatisfied with our bodies that 95% of people experience stable body dissatisfaction from adolescence through young adulthood and beyond. And so this is where that normative or normal discontent comes in, is that this number is so high across time and across research studies. And ideal appearance, we do know, and body dissatisfaction can differ by gender, sexuality, racial identity, and age. There are some differences, but this experience of body dissatisfaction is quite common. Moving towards a place of body neutrality, acceptance, or body positivity. Somebody who's experienced a high level of body dissatisfaction throughout their life can't easily get to a place of loving their body, but can we envision a future for ourselves where we feel neutral about our body? Maybe we learn to accept our body and that we can't change our body, but we can change our relationship to our body. And might that help us at some point in the distant future or near future feel positively about our body in whatever form it takes and what our body allows us to do every day. This is potentially a really long journey and was a long journey for me, absolutely. I think as part of this journey, it's important to focus on our health and not our weight. So it's important for us to think about our self-worth and who we are as human beings and why the people in our lives love us as independent of our weight. Keep those research findings, that myth busting of diet culture in the back of your mind and ask yourself, what would loved ones say about you? How can I follow health advice that's focused on, cardiometabolic markers of health and not about the number on the scale? How can I engage in wellness and in health-focused activities in a different way that can help me change my relationship with my body? It's also important for us to potentially examine our media environment. Do we have different sources of media, people or content creators in our lives that we're seeing in our feed that contribute to how we're feeling about our body? How can we train algorithms or clean up our social media feed to have a more positive environment? So, for example, whenever I get social media ads that are targeted towards weight loss, I tell Instagram that that is offensive, and I train my algorithm every time this starts coming up. I follow body positive content creators and I follow a lot of cat accounts because cats are joy in my life. So being able to try to curate an environment around us and how we're engaging with people around us and conversations about weight and bodies in ways that will support us in this journey. And we can also practice intuitive and inclusive eating behaviors. So thinking about intuitive eating as eating according to our hunger and our fullness cues, developing our relationship with our body by trying to understand what kind of hunger we're experiencing when we're full, and recognizing that, all foods have a place in our life. All foods are good foods, because if I label a food as bad food and I consume that bad food, it's a really easy leap to I'm a bad person. So all food is good and all food serves a different purpose in my life. Each kind of food is a different kind of fuel that is making me feel good in a different way. And I'm trying to think about the kind of fuel I need all the time versus the kind of fuel that I need less often. And that it's important if I eat because I feel bad, and I want to make sure I'm not doing that in a way that's negatively impacting my health, right? Eating to cope isn't inherently bad. Eating because you're bored isn't inherently bad. Those are strategies that can become unhelpful, but it's important not to shame ourselves when we do engage in those things, because that can send us into a shame spiral that will lead us feeling worse about ourselves. Being compassionate, I think, is a key part of this journey. We can practice joyful movement. So we can engage in activity that is fun and enjoyable, that makes us feel good in our body, that makes us feel capable or strong or more energetic, and not engaging in movement that we don't find fun and enjoyable. And if there isn't anything that feels fun and enjoyable, what do you hate the least? And do a little bit of that. It's important for us to critique headlines, to know that the media and the news is not always having our best interests at heart, and we can find trusted sources for information. So I have 2 podcasts on here that I recommend that I've heard nothing but good things about. And I have 2 books on here, one by Christy Harrison and one by Virginia Soul-Smith. Full disclosure, I was interviewed for both of these books, but that is not why I am recommending these books. I think these are places where you can go for more like-minded information if you've enjoyed what you've heard here today.